Much, Let's do the papers, shall we? Let's let you know exactly what you'd be meeting when you pick up a daily this morning. I'm here with Titi, of course, and we'll be doing that together. Thank you, Titi.
Yeah. We are ready with the Punch.
The Punch newspaper. Please go ahead, yes.
We are reading from the Punch. Today is Thursday, December 7th, 2023. Kaduna village bombing. Protesters storm National Assembly. Amnesty International threatens suit. Deaths reach 127. Protesters condemn killings. United Nations urges military to protect civilians. And PDP asks Tinubu to declare national mourning. Victims may demand 29 billion naira.
Now, that's a lot. Before you go into other headlines, just wanted to jump on that. Amnesty International is compiling a list of people who were affected, and apparently from 80 people who we hear that were involved, the death toll has now risen to 127. Now, that's a very big deal when you start looking at mistakes made by the military. They've also asked the Minister of Defense to either resign or at least show some action. And they're doing something about it, apparently, but we don't know exactly what, whether it's in terms of compensation or whether it's restructuring of our military defense system. But there's just so many ways to look at it. Exactly what are the protesters requesting and what is the intention of the military at this point?
There usually is a standard, I'm going to use that term, standard operating procedure whenever, sadly, things
collateral
like this
damage
happen. So hopefully justice will take its course in any case. We also have this headline. It says, airlines eye 964 billion naira Nigerian African carriers post losses. Now, it also says here, federal government loses $161 million to 9-year conflict with Intels, according to NPA. Now, we also have 346 billion naira voted for presidential jets, refreshments, others. And right at on the right, it says here, federal government votes 50 billion naira for student loan. Oh, we do remember the story on student loans, the whole issue. This was about a month or two ago that we talked a bit about it. We did see a lot of people saying that students were beginning to drop out of school. They were beginning to redirect their thinking towards maybe more...
occupation, more...
Yeah.
What's
handcrafts.
Crafts.
Exactly. And starting small businesses, which is something that all over the world...
It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
If you put in effort there as a government, I think you'd see some yield.
Exactly.
Let's move on now to Daily Independence for today. Army Kaduna airstrike on civilians. Northern groups finger lack of coordination by the military. Yes, indeed. Call for independent investigation over killing of 120 villagers. Protesters storm NAS, like we said from the other paper. PDP demands thorough investigation and also compensation. Tinubu Shatima to spend 10 billion naira on tips meals in 2024, and tackling economic issues should be priority, not ownership of Lagos, Body George warns. Moving on to the many headlines on the front page for the Independent. Tinubu okays political liberation of Southeast. Akeredolu must transit power to Ayedatiwa, PDP insists. In Supreme Court bench, NJC recommends Samani and 9 others for appointment. We saw the pictures of these judges on the first page of the Punch. And also PNG to end on-ground operations in Nigeria. Why security persists insecurity persists despite huge allocations, Chief of Defense staff. And expatriates steal jobs meant for Nigerians. National Assembly alleges, says foreign prisoners are working in Nigeria's construction companies. This was something that somebody, I think it was a Nigerian Nollywood star that actually pointed this out 2 years ago regarding the amount of people who are inside of Nigeria working labored jobs that Nigerians could actually benefit from. Yeah, sure. I'm surprised that this is the first time that it's coming up under such... Spotlight, exactly. Thank you for that word. And I think it's something to consider. There's a lot of jobs when you look at it.
Speaking of jobs, PNG, that's Procter Gamble, apparently are ending their on-ground operations in Nigeria. Now, these are the makers of a popular diaper company. a popular detergent, very popular detergent.
Very many household items.
Household items.
Utility.
There's a particular petroleum jelly.
So how's that going to affect you as a mother?
So I guess it might mean that if you're going to get those products now, you're going to have to import them.
So expense.
But it also means 5,000 jobs are going to be lost should they completely end operations in Nigeria. And that is something to look at. But then it is an opportunity for the more homegrown companies to sort of make sure that they, step up their operations here, because I think they were under pressure from Nigerian companies that are making similar products and in quote, sometimes better products than what they were making.
What daily do you have there we could look at before we end?
We have the Daily Trust.
Okay.
It says here on the cover of the Daily Trust, zero allocation for Mambila Power Project in the 2024 budget. Now, ministry gets 400 million for conferences. Senators vow to query minister. It's a plot to emasculate our region. Northern Elders Forum says federal government not ready to address energy crisis. Now, just like you said from the other paper, it says here prisoners from foreign lands working at construction sites in Nigeria, according to Senate panel. Gaza war may aggravate threats to international peace. UN Secretary General warns. Now, the COP28 is still ongoing in Dubai, and there are a lot of important conversations going on about climate change and so many other issues around the world. And you can't deny that the threat of, the threat to peace, international peace, is one that is just really tethering on the edge.
It affects everything.
Yeah.
Even as close to us as pilgrimage. Now people are switching from Israel to Lebanon.
Yeah.
Let's do the Vanguard, our final paper for this morning here.
I don't think we have enough time for the Vanguard at this point.
No, okay.
Do we? Okay, we have about a minute.
Yes.
Okay, we have about a minute.
Go.
The Vanguard newspaper has this headline. It says here, bombing error won't deter fight against terrorism, according to Defense Minister. UN deplores incident. Death toll rises to 127. Victims recount ordeals. Some injured moved to Army 44 Reference Hospital. Let's see what else we have here. Stop tax waivers, concessions already granted to corporate entities. Senate tells federal government. And government should discourage pegging Naira to a currency, say experts. Yeah. So
very interesting way to look at that one.
Apparently, according to some reports as at yesterday, some banks are reducing the amount of cash that you can take out from ATMs because of the Christmas season coming up. People are withdrawing a lot more money now, meaning that they're sort of, in a sense, rationing. Some banks are rationing what they give out to every individual, which kind of makes it fair, but it does make it feel, like you can't really get out the money you want to get out now, and it's making everybody have a rethink about how they spend this December.
Oh, go cashless.
Yeah, transfers, POS terminals are.
It's also a call on the institutions, the banks, to also make sure that these alternatives are working properly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we can do for the papers. Thank you for joining us. And of course, you can pick one up and make your opinion known by using the hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC. Would love to read from you guys. Stay tuned. There's plenty more coming your way.